Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So let's start off with just a little bit of XRP news here. They did an article, or rather they did an interview and wrote an article about the interview with Linda P. Jones. Now, Linda P. Jones is talking about the settlement between Ripple and the SEC, which they have a few court dates coming up. This is huge stuff, okay? Now, what she said is very interesting because it's all she's doing is echoing what the literal banks told everybody. Right. They literally told everybody, and representatives from Ripple told everybody as well. We read the articles. Right. But let me read this little tidbit here. All right. Because, see, what she's saying is accurate about XRP being held back from being, I phrase it as, unleashed. It can't make the run that it should make because of its utility. And yes, utility is significant. A lot of people like to write off utility. That makes no sense. If utility can bring a large amount of volume and a large amount of value, then utility has to be highly significant. I mean, that's unless you're just looking at XRP as something where you're just trying to make literally retail capital off of XRP, which in my humble opinion, I'm going to respectfully just disagree with that because retail does not move XRP or XLM or any of that. And when you see those big funds flowing in, that's not retail. You see those big funds flowing in during a bull run and that price starts to go up. I don't consider that retail. A lot of those people are pulling. Listen, well, that's big money moving those prices. Big money. Which is why it hasn't come back yet, no matter how much retail tries to pump these things, right? So you need those big institutions and that utility to kick in. You just do. It is a utility coin made to be, how do they phrase it? It was made to be the Bitcoin for the banks. Look that up. Do a little Google search. I'm telling you. Look up everything that I say. Matter of fact, look up everything that everyone says. It says here, Jones highlighted the settlement amount from the Securities and Exchange Commission as the foremost determinant of XRP's future. I told you this is well known, but it's like, I think a lot of people don't know this. So hopefully this will help some people out. Right. So when we pass this barrier, this barricade, then XRP can finally be unleashed. This is why a lot of people are mad at the regulators. They're mad at the government because they've held the people back and the people have been suffering. They could have made tons and tons of money. Yeah. Hey, to each his own, feel how you want, have your own thoughts. But I'm telling you what people have told me, and I'm telling you what I've read at the same time. All right. This is according to her, the uncertainty around this figure has been a hindering factor for potential XRP investors. Well, what the institutions let be known was that they're not going to go all in to flip the switch, so to speak, until it's completely over. That's what they said. That's what they said. All right. People read the document. Let me say that again. People read the documents. They saw it for themselves. So don't just take it as I'm just saying this. Not at all. All right. There was thousands of people watching those videos. OK. All right. So, you got to say that because some people be like, Mick, are you just saying that? I don't just say things at all. I'm the researcher. So I try to tell you things that we read in documents. And I know it doesn't mean because you read in documents that it's true 100% going to happen. I know that. But we need somewhere to build from. We need some facts to base our thoughts on. So that's what we're going to pull from for now. All right. Until there's something better. It says, notably, this settlement amount is the financial penalty for Ripple's institutional transactions deemed securities in the XRP victory judgment delivered on July 2023. And as I think I don't know if I released which video I released yesterday. I have no idea. I filmed 6 videos yesterday and I just released the one I thought was best and digestible because I was a little fiery in some of the other ones. But in one of them, I was saying that a lot of people believe that the XRP victory last year, that was the be all end all. And I was trying my best to convey like, no, not yet. This is a great monumental step. This is huge, beyond huge. And it's going to come in handy in the future, that clarity for XRP. And in a better world, yeah, that would have been a be all end all. And we would have been able to skyrocket and really see what XRP is made of. But it's not that kind of world. And unfortunately, the companies that want to utilize the XRPL and XRP, unfortunately, they have a tremendous amount of power. And they were like, hey, listen, that's great. XRP has clarity, but we need the entirety of the SEC case to be over. And so what there's a balance to everything. And so what also occurs is that there is a lot of people who just of retail, right, who just don't like XRP. They don't believe in XRP. They're not going to buy XRP unless the price is going up and they can make a little bit of quick money. People are in love with the quick money. Hey, that's how they do. So as of right now, it just doesn't have that retail support, right? So that couldn't step in, that couldn't kick in, because that's the only ones that could have done something at that time is a massive retail, but that massive retail just does not exist. And so you got to wait on those big banks. You got to wait on those companies. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Not for me. It's not unfortunate because I'm here for that bank money, right? I'm here for that bank money, but to each his own. It says here, the financial expert argued that the settlement amount, once disclosed, would provide much needed clarity to institutional investors. I don't care about the amount or at all. I just want Ripple to get this over with and end it. See, once they end it, then we can play. That's it. We can play. Lives might change. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own decisions. But then lives might change. You imagine we get some sort of ending of this case right at the same time. You got the Bitcoin halving at some point this year, I guess that's going on. You have a bull run that can start. Holy smokes, man. Listen, I hope 2024 is as powerful as they've all built it up to become. I see it. I see that it's definitely possible. I see that there is a fuse lit and things are ready to go off. We just need them to go off. It's there. It's lit. It just hasn't gone boom. So, that's going to take a little bit of time. We'll see if we get there. All right. So now let's move on here to a little bit of Stellar XLM related news. I showed the headline of this article yesterday in that video. It's a powerful article. I wonder if people really read this thing. They really went there and read it. But this is from Franklin Templeton. All right. They utilize Stellar. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says new pilots seek to re-architect the industry's 50-year-old financial market infrastructure. Who are the new pilots? Who are at the forefront of doing this? Stellar, Ripple, Algorand, Quant, the usual suspects. Zenfin is in their XDC. Before somebody says, hey, Mick, what about XDC? They always say that. I'm like, for almost an entire year, I was covering XDC. I just haven't covered it a lot recently. But XDC is in there. All the typical bank coins are in there. So, but obviously they're at the forefront of their mind has to be the company that they're collaborating with, which would be Stellar. Let's keep going. It says innovative technologies associated with the crypto domain are beginning to cross over and be piloted as part of the traditional financial infrastructure. So it's just kicking off. So a lot of people, they have this mind state. I've seen this as of recent also. I don't know why they assume. But they do. They assume things. And they say, well, so people have been holding XRP for 5 years. They've been holding XLM for 5 years. Who said that? Who said that people was holding for 5 years? I've only been here for 2.5 years, going on 3 now. Some other people only been in for a year. Like some people been in for 2. But, it doesn't matter how long you hold. It doesn't change the facts. Things are just getting started with these companies. They move slow to get themselves in position, and things are just now getting piloted. Just now. You just saw them launch. You saw Wisdom Tree launch something on Stellar in 2023. You saw Franklin Templeton launch something in 2023. So United Nations really kicked their thing off in 2023. It's all just getting started. These are technologies that were made for these big companies. So let's be real about it. They haven't started really serving their purpose until 2023. Everything else was just building up to that. Everything else was just a testing ground for them to get in bed with these bigger companies. And now it's beginning, right? So even they say it, and being piloted as part of the traditional financial infrastructure. So you see that they're admitting that these companies are weaving their way into the legacy system, which also is going to take time. Hey, it says tracking developments in 2024 to determine how rapidly these experiments progress will be critical, according to Franklin Templeton Digital Assets. Okay, let's move past that little part there. It says innovative technologies associated with the crypto domain are beginning. It's just starting. Nascent phase, folks, are beginning to cross over and be piloted. So what that means is if you've had something for a long time, that just means that you're super early. That's how I look at it. You can look at things in a positive and a negative. A lot of people, just too many people, and this spirit, this energy has been pervading humanity a little bit too much, just my humble opinion. But they look at things in a negative, dark way. And that's just not the path for me. So you can look at it as I've held this for so long and it hasn't done what I wanted to do, even though the last bull run was beautiful. For those who got in before that bull run, and then you saw look where XLM price went to, it was beautiful. But they could look at it in that way where like I had it for so long, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But they could look at it as also I've had it and I'm in early because things are, according to Franklin Templeton, just beginning. You know, this is made for massive amount, like XLM, for example. Stellar products are made for a massive amount of people around the world to use at the same time for it to really live up to its expectations. And then one has to ask themselves, is there a massive amount of people utilizing any of these technologies yet? And the answer is no, because there's not across the board clarity in the world. It's not. So things are just beginning and we're moving toward that pathway, that to fulfilling that destiny. It says crypto domain are beginning to cross over and be piloted as part of the traditional financial infrastructure. Established intermediaries and servicers are exploring the utilization of blockchains, smart contracts, like I said. That's why they're rushing that smart contract stuff. We're supposed to hear something this month about the what's that smart contract platform they have that they're building on Stellar? I don't remember the name. I don't care about the name. I just need it to be functional, like efficient. I need it to be the best of the best so we can see Stellar live up to its potential. At least that's how I personally feel as a Stellar enthusiast, right? But they have the smart contracts that they're after big time. Even if you look at the Nexi document that I covered in the other video, they're talking about smart contracts, okay? So whoever's the best of the best as far as smart contracts, they're going to get a lot of play. It says here, Oracle networks, right? You got oracles in play like in Chainlink and things of that nature. And I believe a few others. It says, and tokenization. We know that Stellar is a heavyweight already in the early stages of the tokenization of everything. It says, often with the explicit support and guidance of local regulators. Those are the ones, folks, that have been slowing everything down. Those are the ones that Ripple's been talking about. Stellar's been talking about and with. You see Danelle Dixon talking to them, all the local regulators, and we need better regulations. And all right. It says this marks the first time in nearly 50 years. And this is why they're always talking about stablecoin regulation, because if you're using stablecoins on Stellar, you need a wallet to keep it in, right? Okay, you need a wallet to keep it in. Every single wallet has to have a modicum of lumens, right? Okay, stable coins definitely are not stable, and there's going to always be fluctuations. There's going to be depeggings. There's going to be bank runs because the world's not doing well. And when you need liquidity for that stable coin, they turn to what on Stellar for liquidity? XLM. Look all of this up. So you need all of that together, all of that. And things are going that way. It's just take a little bit of time. There's nothing that you or I can do about that. Right? It says today's financial market infrastructure was introduced in the early 1970s. Look how outdated it is. In response to paper crisis that engulfed Wall Street in the late 1960s. That era's innovative technology, computers were introduced to re-engineer the securities industry. Let's skip that little bit there. It says, unlike the current securities settlement process that kicks off at the close of each day's trading, requires multiple reconciliations and carries on for several days beyond trade day, crypto markets are open 24 hours. See, and this is something they say all the time. They're letting people know they find crypto attractive. For Franklin Templeton, once again, the company that they're working with right now, Stellar. But across the board, the legit companies, the legit utility-based companies, Ripple, Stellar, Chainlink, Solana, Algorand, Hedera, like companies like that, they're going to be big time. I don't know how big. I just know they're going to be big time. But with statements like this, one may ask themselves, why do they say the same thing all the time? Because it's like sending up a flare, letting the people know, hey, we find this attractive. This is one of the biggest reasons why. And we're going to take over this technology. So we're just letting you know in advance. And they have been doing that, right? It says here, a 2023 report from the Global Financial Markets Association, GFMA, and the Boston Consulting Group found, so this is serious business, that using blockchain and re-engineering the current financial market infrastructure could unlock US $20 billion annually in global clearing and settlement costs and free up approximately $100 billion in collateral. And keep in mind, this is my humble opinion from what I've seen, they always lowball these numbers. All right, so we're going to stop there with the XLM information. If you enjoyed that content, please click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so now let's go on here. All right, you do that, I'll keep that content coming. Okay, it incentivize. Look, a couple of things incentivize me to keep on working hard and not, and really fire me up. Supportive comments keep me fired up, make me say, oh yeah, I want to do good for these people. Beyond what I already do, right? Clicking that like button lets me know, okay, people enjoyed this. They enjoyed this. Let me keep on, let me stay motivated and keep looking for something. Even when I don't find anything, don't get frustrated and just go with the XRP content, content that's like out there all the time. That's easily accessible. XRP content, quant content. Let me dig for some of this XLM content. Let me dig for some of this other stuff that might be significant and different information than what is just popularly being covered out there. You know what I mean? So clicking the like button shows me that. Supportive comments show me that. Let's move on here. All right, I'm going to skip the Bitcoin article here about the government possibly seizing people's Bitcoin ETFs after launch and such. There's a lot of Bitcoin FUD out there. I wouldn't put it past them. They want to control Bitcoin. They want to manipulate Bitcoin. They've never liked it. There's a difference. People have to understand. There's a difference between liking something and just wanting to make money off of it. You can hate something. You could despise it and make money off of it. People do that all the time. They don't like people do that even in relationships. They may not like who they're with, but because it's advantageous to be with that person, because they're a CEO, they're an executive, they're a prize fighter, they own an organization, they'll stay with that person even though they don't like them, just to benefit off of them. I see Bitcoin as being the same thing. They're getting in to control Bitcoin, make some capital off of it, and ensure that if anything's going to be made, any money is going to be made with Bitcoin, that their hand gets to touch a good swath of it. Metaphorically speaking, proverbially speaking. You get what I'm saying? All right. So now let's move on here, because the world is rapidly changing. I showed this little article headline yesterday as well, but we didn't go in deep at all. This article is titled, Brics, Russia and Iran in SWIFT start bank transfers and local currencies. Well, that's a no-brainer. That's not something that shocks me, surprised me. Iran has a multitude of problems right now, right? But with the United States, all right, you already know the problems Russia has and such. And Brics as a whole, I think they're going to be speeding up what they're doing. China has a massive financial, economic problems. All right. And I just right now, I don't see a clear solution for China, except that if you can position yourself at the top of an economic pyramid, which would look at the pyramid to be like BRICS nations, right? If you can position yourself at the top, then you make the rules. The only way for, I think, these current economies, whether they're Western-based economies or Eastern, to survive into the future without a massive collapse, is my honest opinion, folks. The only way for them to survive is to be in charge and make the rules. Whoever's making the rules, there's no one above them to hold them accountable. There's no one above them to tell them, hey, you have to pay the penalty for having all of this debt, right? So you have to be in charge. You have to be at the top, either that or you have to be accumulating power. And this is another reason why you look at the China and there's the situation with the place that they want to take over. And you look at what comes out of that place. That's a place of power that they want to take over. Just look at something like the semiconductors that are produced there. That is why as soon as things went down between the US and China, they took those semiconductors right off the table. What did the United States do? They pulled their scientists right out of that area, right, to injure China and slow them down. And I'm sure that was something that was widely discussed when the leader of China, Xi Jinping, came over. You know, they had that meeting in California. I'm pretty sure that was discussed, because then what did United States start doing? Because semiconductors is that one little thing that was not little, it's actually big, but you get what I'm saying. It's so significant that the United States said we're going to start producing our own. This is a United States that rarely, don't get me wrong, the United States still produces some stuff, but not nearly as much as before, right? To go and weave into new industries. But they wanted control of that because it's a huge piece on the chessboard. They start producing the stuff themselves. There's only two pathways for them. Be at the top and make the rules so your economy can survive by you doing whatever you want to do and no one being able to hold you accountable, or you better acquire some power through taking something over, right? So they're going to have to deploy their facets of the new financial system faster than normal. This is why you saw all the development with the CBDC platforms, cross-border payment platforms over there in Brics nations like China and other places, right? You saw the retail CBDC and the wholesale CBDC platform, Ripple deployed. You see all of the activity in various parts of Asia that Stellar has going on with LightNet, EveryNet, although they got real quiet, but they've never changed their goal of replacing SWIFT in that region. There's a huge shift going on that most people don't want to accept, and it doesn't really matter if they accept it or not. It's happening, right? And then just forget the death of the dollar. Forget that. I mean, the U.S. economy is just doing absolutely terrible. I see it in my own neighborhood. I'm telling you right now. These folks, at one time, these folks around here doing really well. And so many people selling their houses, all right? I'm telling you what I see with my own peepers. Selling their houses, right? Their children, they used to buy their children. I'm talking about the best of the best of the best cars. Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm telling you, there's some downgrades. There's some downgrades. That tells me that across the board, folks, the United States economy is not doing well. Pick your reasons as to why you might think that is. That's up to you. I'm just telling you what I see. So there's going to be a lot of tension, a lot of distraction. But one of the things that definitely is going to be happening is there is a change of power in the world. People need to watch it. I don't know where things are going to end up. We shall see. Right now, as we speak, United States still remains pretty dominant. But we shall see. But this doesn't surprise me. I'm going to be looking at more activity coming out of the MENA region, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. They're looking very, very dominant as far as distributed ledger technologies is concerned. I'm telling you now, not only that, they're going to be attracting a whole host of people that like to make money. All right, because in certain parts of those regions, there's a lot of very beneficial things that occur with taxes, right? with taxes and such. And I see a lot of people over the years telling me, hey, Mick, I'm moving there. Just like I told you before, a lot of people have moved to like Mexico and stuff like that, even though the environment in Mexico has definitely changed greatly, right? Because of all those people moving there. So there's been some shifting going on. But I'm going to be keeping my eye on the MENA region. So anyway, let's move on from there. I think I gave you all the thoughts that I possibly could. Here's this article here. I spoke about this a little bit in yesterday's video. But once again, I just showed the headlines yesterday because I wanted to speak from the heart. This article is from wallstreetonparade.com. I'm going to read this a little bit here. It says, last year, speaking at a conference sponsored by the nonprofit watchdog Better Markets to examine if, quote, too big to fail, unquote, banks had materially changed in the 15 years since the 2008 financial collapse, Anat Admati, professor of finance and economics at Stanford Graduate School of Business, offered her assessment of the U.S. banking system and said, quote, corruption has become the system, unquote. I told them, you better watch out for that banking system. And listen, they would have collapsed already. You're saying to yourself, Mick, why would they have collapsed? They haven't, man. You're just saying that. No, I'm not just saying it. I don't just say things, guys. I promise you. My whole life, since my father raised me, has been based around research. So when I do research, I take it serious because my father pops in my head and I want to honor how he raised me, right? So I when I speak, I'm very serious. I might crack some jokes even when I'm joking. I'm serious. Let me show you this. Let me see if I still have this article. Bear with me one moment, folks. I'm going to show you. They would have already collapsed. Where's the article about? I had an article about. Here it is. I got it, folks. Oh, yeah, we're doing good, man. Clap it up for me one time. No, don't clap. Some people are sleeping right now. This article is titled, it's from businessreport.com. It's titled, Are Banks Now Gaming the Fed's Rescue Program? So they use rather peculiar language, but what that means is, are they taking advantage of the Fed's rescue program? I've spoken about this numerous times. Didn't I tell you? I told you. So when the banks collapsed last year, the Feds launched that program. It's pretty much a bailout program. See, listen, this is what they did. When everything happened in the last financial crisis, they just removed the word bailout. That was it. But they're still bailing them out. They just use different verbiage and different techniques, right? So last year when those banks went down, they launched some sort of program to help the banks. The banks have been borrowing money from that program ever since to prop themselves up. So don't let them fool you to think that they're doing well. They're not doing well. They're doing terrible. I'll read you this little tidbit. We'll close out with this one here today, okay? I'm feeling good today. I hope you're feeling well and feeling good today as well. All right? Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you enough. Thank you. From the genuinely from the heart. I hope that you're always here with me. I do. Let's take this walk together. It says here, and we will grow. Who knows where we're going to grow to in the future? This is just where we're beginning. We're going to grow, folks. It says here, are banks now gaming the Fed's rescue program, an emergency lending program the Federal Reserve created during the 2023 banking crisis has turned into easy money? The Wall Street Journal reports. So this is serious business, reputable. It says the rate banks pay to use the Fed's Bank Term Funding Program, or BTFP for short, is tied to future interest rate expectations. As the Wall Street Journal reports, now that investors have priced in a series of rate cuts later this year, banks are able to pocket the difference between what they pay to borrow the funds and what they can earn from parking the funds at the central bank as overnight deposits. Lending in the program hit $141.2 billion this past Wednesday. Why? One has to logically ask this question. If they're doing so well, if the banks are doing so good, if they're not on the verge of collapse, why is this program still existing? Why are they having to borrow anything? It says a new high, up 4% from the prior week and up 25% since the middle of November, up 25%. It says when forecasts started changing. Okay, we're going to leave off there, folks, so we can keep the video just a little bit under 30 minutes. And now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the Monday.